Hello, I'm John from the Haunt Informer,
And I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
and this is episode 47 of Fall Informer. And today we have a special guest. We have Immolated Souls, who is a Jason cosplayer. So introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Immolated Souls. As he said, I'm a Jason cosplayer. I'm a musician. I'm a streamer on Twitch. I work on cars. I do all kinds of random nonsense, basically. Um, I'm just a dude, just like anybody else is. I ain't nobody special. I'm just doing what I love, pretty much. So, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, no problem. I'm very happy to talk to you.
Thanks for coming on.
Awesome.
Wonderful. You can start the questions, Glenn.
All right. Well, let's start with the Jason cosplayer side of what you do. How long have you been doing it, and when did you start, and how did you get into it? And is it well? Go for that. And is it specifically one era of Jason, or do you do several eras, or you just strictly focus on one era or one movie?
Okay, so I started cosplaying back in 2021. I've been wanting to do it actually for many years, but I had like no confidence in myself to really do it per
Okay.
se. And just one day I lost my girlfriend. She broke up with me and stuff, and I was really down in the ditch. And I'm like, you know what? I need to find some kind of change in my life, something that'll motivate me, something to make me have more make me more proud of myself and all that, and make me
Yeah.
feel good.
Hmm.
So, like I said, it was like in 2021, my girlfriend broke up with me, all that happened, and then I met the girl that I'm with now, and I introduced her to Friday the 13th, and specifically part two,
Okay.
because part two to me was, or is, I should say, the most realistic phase, I believe, of Jason. And I think it actually is the most terrifying because he's still a human at that point. He doesn't have any like the supernatural abilities, he doesn't have like the teleportation, anything like that. Like he could technically still be killed. And I always thought, since this is my favorite Friday the 13th movie, I was like, I don't see too many people doing Sackhead Jason.
No, you
And,
don't.
and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm just going to do it and not even think about it. So, how that's kind of how it started for me. And all I did was take a pillow sheet, cut out an eyeball, put that over my head, kind of dirtied it up, all that good stuff. And then I just got a blue and black plaid shirt with the blue overalls, which I'm going to get new overalls here hopefully soon because mine are not screen accurate color, but it still works. But anyway, then literally I just kind of just homemade this thing within like 4 hours because I just kept
Wow.
looking at still shots of Jason and I'm like, okay, what can I do to make it more close to what I'm trying to do and all that.
Sure.
And when I had started out too, uh I didn't have the right pickaxe. I just found a pickaxe online that would just work for the time being until I have the pickaxe I have now, which is the most realistic weapon I think I've ever seen personally. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just slowly like evolved over time where my whole thing with the cosplay is I want to do a time frame like when people first saw me, I was all clean, I didn't have no blood, I didn't,
Okay.
I just looked basic, you
Okay.
know. Then as time goes on, things got a little bloody to make it look like, hey, I've murdered some people, and
Ah,
it's
okay.
like a time frame. And as time goes on, like the outfit's going to get ripped, it's going to be battle damaged essentially. And I want it to be eventually, like I said, a battle damaged Jason, that's Sackhead Jason, specifically. But that's the main one I do. I do Michael Myers from time to time randomly. And if you guys, I don't know if you guys know this other persona, but do you guys know Dr. Disrespect on well, he was on Twitch and now he's on YouTube.
No, we don't.
Mm.
Okay, so Dr. Disrespect, just real quick, it was a online personality where he's like he thinks he's the best, he's better than everybody. He's got like this 80s mohawk on with headphones and
Okay.
80s sunglasses on with a caterpillar mustache. And yeah, he's a really hilarious persona, and a lot of people do know him. But that's another one I do. I would actually like to do eventually down the road. I would like to do a Gears of War cosplay. I would freaking love to do that.
Nice.
Um, And then there was one I thought of the other day, and I can't remember what it was right now, but there was another one I saw. I was like, oh, I could probably pull that off, or whatever. But yeah, so at the end of the day, that's basically how I kind of got involved in doing cosplay. I just started going to horror conventions, and the first one I ever did was it was Monster Mania in Oaks, Pennsylvania.
Okay, yeah,
back
looks
back in back in 2021. That was the first convention I ever went to, and I always wanted to go to a convention. And then, my girlfriend that I'm with, she was like, "Oh, well, why don't we just go and do it? You could do your cosplay and all that." And I'm thinking I'm not going to get like any response. I'm not going to get anybody to take pictures with me and stuff like that. But dude, I couldn't tell you how many pictures I got in that first time I ever did it, and I was just like, wow, there is so much love for this guy. Like,
oh
holy
yeah,
crap.
oh yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. So, but I didn't want to I didn't want to do the most typical cosplay that everybody does. Everybody does like from part three onward, essentially.
Or a Team Hotter, right?
Yeah, or the Kane Hodder era, and it's like I just wanted to do something different, just something that not every day you see a cosplay of, So, and I have like music that plays too, and I have like soundtrack bits from the movie that play too, and I think that's a big like I don't want to say like stepping stone, but a big thing that's different compared to all the other cosplays I see, because it's usually just a guy just standing there, and he has nothing going on. But me, I have things like sounds going on, which I think is very unique and different too. So,
That's
That's
cool.
awesome. So wait a minute. So you're talking. So your first horror convention you ever went to, period, you did a cosplay, and it was a huge reaction.
yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
awesome.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Dude, and like I said, like I had like no confidence in myself. I was like, oh, this is gonna bomb, this is gonna suck, I'm just gonna look like an idiot in this thing. But as soon as I walked in that door, it was like everybody's like, oh my God, Sackhead Jason, you don't ever see Sackhead Jason. Like they're freaking out. And
Okay.
before I even got to the admissions area, I think I took about 10 or 12 pictures with people, just
Wow.
about. Yeah, and then as I went into the convention, it was like nonstop. People just stopping me, stopping me, stopping me. I'm like, I'm kind of here to get signatures from people, but that's okay. I'll take pictures. It's cool.
But that's the beauty. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of like the horror community is that
Yes.
everyone's so supportive and everyone is just so like, all about it. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah,
you never feel
absolutely.
like, what you're doing is just goes unnoticed or,
No.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
and that was the other thing that really like I think really made me want to continue just from that moment on, because like everybody was just so cool about it. They were so supportive, and I'm like, this is like another family like I never had for all these years, and like now I
Right.
feel like I'm in a family. It's so great.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you see it more? Like I haven't been to, like I don't go to horror conventions that much anymore or at all. I used to go to a ton of them in the early 2000s. But do you see more of that now? Like cosplayers go to conventions and
Oh, dude. I mean, you literally could walk in and you could walk past maybe hundreds of people doing cosplays. I mean, it's everything from like Jason to Michael Myers to Pinhead to Bubba Sawyer to Carrie to I mean, the list goes on. I mean, there's even stuff people don't even do that's horror related, and they show up to a horror convention cosplaying like stuff from like video games or anime, things like that. So,
Hmm. It's always
but
interesting, like the real niche ones too. Like every once in a while, you see a Candyman or something, and you're like, "Yes, Candy."
oh yeah, dude. I saw one person do Candyman when Tony Todd was at Oaks, PA, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty impressive, actually.
but then to do that whole chess piece with the bees on it and everything, like that's gotta be a lot of work, gotta be heavy. It's gotta be I mean
Oh, oh
that's
yeah,
hard work.
it's a lot of work, and I know that people pay really good money to get those authentic props as much as they
Yeah.
can. And I understand that, but if you can do it yourself, you're going to save yourself so much money doing it by yourself. Because like I
Yeah.
said, mine was all homemade. I just bought just overalls and a shirt, and I was done. Like there was no issues after that.
So talking about how I met you when you were doing Sackhead Jason for Ari Lehman, who played the first Jason for Friday the 13th. And it was for his band. You actually performed on stage acting like you were killing people. You had a bloody sleeping bag. You had everything. And you went in the crowd and messed with people. It was awesome. People loved it. It was so much
Oh,
fun.
oh, dude, that so every time, okay, so every time I've been on stage with Ari, it's been nothing but a fun time. And the first time I did it was where was the first time I did it? Oh, it was at Creature Feature in Gettysburg
Okay.
in 2023.
Okay.
And I was volunteering that weekend and I told the owner, I was like, hey, just to let you know, I'm going to be on stage with Ari because he needs a Jason cosplayer. And I brought my stuff with me just in case.
Mhm.
And I asked Ari that day, I was like, hey, Ari, do you still need a Jason? He's like, oh, yeah, there's this guy that said he was going to do it, but, do you have your stuff? I was like, yeah, I got my stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I got on stage and, like, I was so nervous because I'm like, I'd never been on actual stage before with, like, an
Right.
actual band.
Yeah.
So, like, I walk up there and I look in the crowd and I'm like, oh my God, there's people. Oh my God, there's so many people here. Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm just like looking around, right? I'm just looking,
Yeah.
just being Jason. I'm not, doing anything right away. And then once they start playing the songs, because I know all the songs by heart, and what I tried to do is I tried to do an act that goes along with the songs as much as I can possible.
Yeah.
And that to me brings a better experience for people to enjoy the show a lot more than just because Ari's just tired of just like a Jason going up there and he just stands there and just like looks at people the whole time. He's like, that no, we need interaction, we need crowd interaction. I was like, oh, I got you. I can do all that,
Yeah.
and from there we developed a really good friendship and like anytime he's local or somewhat kind of close that he's performing, I always try to make it out to him and he's always like, second Josh, what's up, brother? Like he's so ecstatic because he knows I'm very like in the crowd's face. I'm very interactive with him, and that's like the thing he's always wanted. And I delivered it to him, and I think he appreciates it more and more the more I do it for him. So
Yeah, it turns out great. I immediately like beforehand we were talking, you were out of character. I was like, wow, you're actually going to do that. That's going to be really cool. And it worked. Like he actually gets off stage and goes in the crowd and acts like he's going to kill them. It's great.
No, you do that with like the sackhead Jason.
Yeah.
You get on. How do
yep,
you
with
see out of that? Because you only got one eye hole, and there's a lot of cords on that stage. And
well, okay. So what I do is so I usually come up during the song Jason is watching, which is the second song on their playlist usually. But before they do that, I usually try to check out the stage to see where stuff is laid out. So then when I walk, I don't really have to look down as much, but I still always look down to make sure I'm not going to trip over anything. And since I've been doing it now for about 3 years, I kind of got really adjusted to just having one eye because I do have both my eyes open the whole time. I can't have just one eye closed continuously. That drives
Yeah.
me nuts. And so with that being said, being used to having just one eye, you actually grow really accustomed to just having limited vision, and you always have to constantly be turning and looking too, because you don't know if like the bassist Colin is going to like whip his guitar around and hit you possibly, or if
No.
Ari's going to hit you with a guitar. So you got to be on kind of on your feet at the same time. But once I get in the crowd, it's like it's free game. I could just run anywhere or walk anywhere, and it's all good. I know what I'm doing. So.
Nice. Awesome. I see you have a couple Jason hockey masks back there. Do you have like a whole collection of them? Oh,
Yep.
nice. Wow. Look, you got a ton of them.
Yep. Yeah, the NES one that's signed by Kane. The
Nice.
one that is uh two down from the Pinhead one, that one's signed by Ari.
Okay.
Um yeah, and that's pretty much all the masks I have like I want to display, but
Yeah.
I have more. It's just I don't feel like hanging them personally. I legit want to get like a true like to screen accurate like sackhead Jason mask, but
Okay.
you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for those damn things. They're like almost $250 a piece, if not more.
God.
Yeah,
Oof.
but like I said, that's screen accurate. Like it's
That's
got
true.
it's got the dark color to it. It's got all the creases in it. It's got the perfect size eye hole that was in the movie, like
Yeah.
everything. So
Have you met Warrington Gillette?
yeah, I've met him 3 times, 2 or 3 times now.
Oh,
The
wow.
first the first okay, so funny story. So he was
Okay.
at that Oaks convention that I
Oh,
was at the first
nice.
time, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just standing in line with my girlfriend and I'm like all excited. I'm like, "Oh, cool, I get to meet Warrington. This will be awesome."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see this, like I'm Warrington. I see
Yeah.
this. He leans over and he's like, "Hey, there's a Sackhead Jason in line. Would you guys look at that?" And everybody turned around and looked at me. I was like, "Oh shit." So gets even better. So I get a photo op with him the
Oh,
same day
nice.
as
Nice.
well, right?
Mhm.
In his get up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And his assistant that was with him took Warrington's phone and took a picture of both of us like fighting each other in the picture. And then
Great.
Warrington at the table took a picture of me and him together too. He's like, "Man, this is so freaking cool. I don't ever see Sackhead cosplayers. I usually just see just normal people or somebody's like a part 3 or 4 Jason. But you did a very good job." And I was like, "Whoa, Warrington just complimented me? Like, holy crap, I did not expect this."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. And honestly, from any of the part 2 people that I've cosplayed in front of, like they're always just like shocked. They're like, "Man, this is really good looking. Like this is a very good job you've done on this," and blah blah. And I'm like, wow, the people from even the characters that get killed even appreciate what I'm doing, you know?
That's awesome. Great. All
Yep.
right.
Now, how far do you travel to do the conventions and go out to do stuff like you said with the Ari's band or.
Yeah. So the farthest I have traveled was to Parsippany, New Jersey, which is about 3 hours away. But
Okay.
that wasn't for like a first Jason concert or anything.
Okay.
But for Ari, the farthest I traveled, I think was 2 hours max, and that was in someplace in Maryland. It was Fright Read's book festival last
Oh, I heard
year.
about that.
Yeah, the show was really good. The show turned out pretty well. It's just the convention itself didn't really have a humongous turnout, but
Okay.
it was still fun regardless.
Okay. Now, something I'm very curious about, and I am contemplating going to, is you're going to have a concert at the Blairstown Diner on Friday the 13th this year.
Yes, and
Oh,
I told Ari earlier this year because I was on stage with him back in March, I want to say. I think it was like March. We were at a brewery, and he's like, "You gonna be there for Friday the 13th, Blair?" So I was like, "You freaking know I'm gonna be there." Like that's a no-brainer. I have to show up to that.
yeah.
So that'll definitely be very interesting to have a concert at the diner because I don't think they've ever done anything like that before. I mean, I've been to the minicon that happened about 2 years ago. There was like a Friday 13th minicon that South
Yeah.
Jersey Jason put on.
Yeah. Yeah. My friend,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
South Jersey, Jason. We hung out with Reaper's Revenge.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I went there a couple years ago and I really liked the turnout. I really liked the guests they had there and all that. It was really nice. It was just so freaking hot that day though, man. Oh my God. Dude, I couldn't have the mask on longer than 30 minutes at a time. So I was just drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I'm really looking forward to that this year. I mean, that's going to be a really good day.
I've never been to the diner. I want to, just for like the horror history. Like, I would love it.
I'll tell you this, the food is actually very excellent there for a
Oh, awesome.
diner. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And they have some menu items that are named after like Friday the 13th, like
Oh, nice.
nostalgia stuff. So
Okay. Okay.
that's a really cool thing they have going for them. And it's actually under new ownership, and I don't know how the new owner is about like keeping that Friday the 13th like memory going on there because the original owner he was all about it like
Okay.
he's all about keeping the history there, but with this new owner I don't know how they're going to be about doing things and whatnot because they may be like, oh, no cosplaying inside the diner, or
Yeah.
whatever. But
We'll see.
yeah, we'll see. Friday the 13th, I can't wait for that. That'll be a good time, man.
Yeah, all the haunts are super excited now because like they could put on all their marketing. Like we're opening Friday the 13th.
Exactly. And speaking of haunts, I do my cosplay actually at a haunt called Leechwood's Haunted Trail, if you guys have heard of it or not heard of it.
No, I haven't heard of that.
No, where's that at?
Yeah, where is
That's
it?
it. That's in Damascus, Maryland.
Never heard of that. Hmm.
No.
Yeah, it just opened up like 2 years ago, and I was
Oh,
there for the second year they were operating.
okay.
Because I have some friends that I made up here, who are actors and stuff too, and they were like, "Hey, we work at a haunted house," and I'm like, "Oh, well, where is it?" And they told me, and I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'll check it out." So I did it the first time last year, and people were freaking terrified of me. I didn't say a word. I just walked towards them, and I was behind them because I snuck out. I snuck out of a little cutout and was just walking behind people, and they would like turn around to look at their friends, and then they see me there, and they're like, "Where did that guy just come?" Like, and they just run instantly running.
That's
But
all.
that's a haunt you guys should check out. Is Woods Haunted
Running trail.
Trail.
Hmm, interesting.
Now, is it easy? Is it easy to do adjacent since you don't have to talk, or is that harder because you have to get really like the mannerisms down?
Okay, so with Jason, what I have found is obviously, like you said, he doesn't talk, he doesn't make any noise per se. I let the soundtrack and the playlist I have going, I kind of have that do the talking for me because that's how people know Jason is by his infamous, kill Ma, how he
Yeah.
says that in the movie.
Hmm.
That to me, that's his language, so that's how he talks to people. I don't have to do anything. I just have to do the body movements, tilt the head sideways, just stare at him and just watch him, just follow them with my eyes as they're walking away and stuff. I don't really have to make any noise myself unless I'm talking obviously to like another cosplayer that's like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to do this, I want to do this or whatever. But
Yeah.
um the biggest challenge for me at first was to not talk
Uh,
because I'm a talkative person. I love to talk to people, and like when people are asking me like questions like while I'm in cosplay, I'm like, damn, I want to answer the question, but I can't right now. Because if I blow my cover, they're gonna be like, nah, I got you to talk, or whatever. So
yeah, it's like I've done reviews of like Michael Myers masks on my channel a bunch of times. And every time I talk with it on, I'm like, I'm ruining it. Like I have to
and
talk about it, but like I'm like,
Oh yeah, and I mean I did a stream one time with my cosplay and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that ever again because it's actually really hard to like play video games and have only one eye
I
to
was gonna
look
say
out
one
of.
eye.
Yeah. It's extremely hard to play video games with,
Oh my
and
God.
to try to not talk is even worse because you got to be interactive with chat, but it's like
Yeah.
crap, I can't say a word because I'm in cosplay and I'm trying to portray the character as best as I can, but yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, do you have any plans in the future to go to any haunted attractions this season? Do you have any plans?
Well, so I'm gonna be working Leechwoods again, so
Okay.
probably not probably not until, well, that's not true. I might be able to go to Field of Screams right before I have to start working at Leechwoods because it's only a 10-minute drive from my house. So
Oh
like
wow.
yeah, so like me and my boss at work, like he's a big horror fanatic too, and we went during the halfway to Halloween event and we actually had a really good time. It was fun. But before I have to work down in Leechwoods, I could probably only go to like one day, and then I'm like, all right, I gotta go do my haunting stuff. So
Yeah. We found out from interviews, all these interviews, that it's a lot of trouble with actors trying to go to other haunts because they're busy doing their own thing. So,
yeah, it's not easy. I mean, sometimes haunted attractions. Now I worked at another one. I worked at Penhurst Asylum.
oh nice.
Yeah, I worked there from 2016 to like 2018 ish.
Nice, nice.
And I was a character in the underground tunnels,
Okay.
in a little room that we called the Rust Room, where it was kind of like a snake, and there was like a vibrating table there with a body sitting on top of it. And I basically just was looking like I was eating a corpse on a table, and then like as soon
Okay.
as like people get to about here to me, that's when I lunge and jump at them, and they usually
Okay.
just took off running. But I did that for, like I said, 2 years. Then I moved pretty far away to where I couldn't make the travel, and it was just the pay wasn't there for me to make the travel.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
Now, when you do Jason at the haunt, are you in it or you do like line entertainment or you're like outside the haunt?
Well, so my goal for this year is I would like to possibly be line entertainment if possible, but the spot that I was at last year had such a good response that I heard almost every single night I was there that people were like, "Oh, they loved what you did and the part you're in." And they got so freaking scared and whatnot, you killed it tonight. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I mean, I really didn't do anything. I was just walking and running after people. That's all I really did. I don't know what I did to scare them, but other than that, like I said, that's my goal for this year is I would like to be line entertainment. I mean, I don't mind being in a scene. I really don't. It's just the only thing I hate is the waiting game for like another group to come because it could be like
Uh,
sometimes like 3 to 5 minutes before another group comes. Because I'll tell you this about the haunt. So it's in actual woods. Like
nice.
it's not in like a house or a mansion or anything like that. It's in
Okay.
actual woods. So like you got to actually walk through treacherous woods and stuff and like the scenes are very dark and it's very hard to see things. So
Okay.
that's the ultimate scare factor I think for a lot of people with that haunt is
Yeah.
because you're in like an actual setting, but there's just like little tiny sceneries in between of places you go.
Okay.
And the fact that our characters are mostly people's own characters that they made up. It's not anything like you've typically seen before. And that's another thing I think people really liked about it. It's like quote unquote all original characters basically and not just like these preset oh yeah you're just gonna have blood on your face, oh yeah you're just gonna be have black marks on your face,
Yeah.
or you're gonna wear like I don't know, this like destroyed coat and have a chainsaw or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, we have chainsaws, we have air horns, the whole nine yards. I mean,
Yeah.
it's overall a very interactive haunt, and it's a really good time. And like I said, you guys should definitely put that on your list.
Yeah. I'm very
Yeah,
intrigued.
yeah.
Well, the haunt both of us have been to that was very original. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it was called Scream Mountain, and that's in Schwenksville, and
No, I
it's
have
run
not.
at a ski resort. And it's very cool because you actually have to go on a ski lift in the dark to the very top of the hill, and you go
Oh,
on a trail in the
what?
woods. And there's a whole hayride, and the hayride's super intense. It's awesome.
Wow,
There's
that's actually kind of cool. I'm not
and there's a
gonna
whole
lie.
backstory with it. There's a whole backstory of like a mining town with it. It's really good.
Oh, that sounds freaking awesome. I
Yeah,
I think I think the whole part of like probably just going up the ski lift is probably the
yeah,
Mhm.
most terrifying thing for
Yeah,
people to
it
begin
is.
with.
yeah, yeah. It is.
It is because it's dark and you can
Oh
hear
yeah,
people. It's all scream out. I mean, you can literally hear, like, especially if you're not the first group, and if there's already people going through, you could hear people screaming through this haunted attraction while you're on the ski lift. Yeah,
and there's like
it's
there's
awesome.
one character there that's like one of the actor managers, and he plays a character called the Chain Man, and he actually
Hmm.
swings around a real chain and like bangs it on walls, and
Oh man.
you're actually going up, and he's like screaming at you and banging a chain on the wall. It's like it's really it's awesome.
That sounds freaking cool. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie to
cool.
you. That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, I want to go back this year. I missed it last year, and Glenn said they changed a lot.
Okay, okay. And I guess are they fairly new or they've been around a
They've
while?
They've
been around, but they're
wow,
really like
hidden
starting to
gem,
pick up momentum now.
hidden
Yeah, but
gem.
they've been around. But
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool. That's
it's
that
like
that sounds like that might be a place I might actually enjoy.
I'm
yeah,
actually surprised
definitely.
you didn't hear it. It's like only about 10, 15 minutes from Penhurst.
Yeah, it's close.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
for well, where I live currently, I mean, Penrith is like a 3 hour drive
Oh
almost.
wow.
Oh,
So okay, Scream Mountain be like a 3 hour drive for you, but it's
yeah.
awesome though. It's awesome.
Okay, okay. I'll take your guys' word for it. I would like to check it out, but again, since I work
Yeah.
a haunt, it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many haunts have you been to? And like, can you say like your like top five haunts that you've been to?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've obviously been through Penhurst because I work there. I've been to Leech Woods because I work there. Field of Screams I've been to. I really haven't been to too many, pretty much past that.
Okay.
Cause I'm very busy. I mean, I do all kinds of stuff that keeps myself busy. And like during the haunt season and the Halloween season, I'm so focused on doing like 20,000 other things pretty much. But
Okay. Okay.
um but yeah, I would like to get out to more. I really would. There's Kim's Crypt is really close to here. I would love to go check that one out.
That's a blast.
I heard nothing but good things about
So
it.
much
So
fun. So much fun.
yeah, that would be probably the next one I want to go to, because if I could do it, I would probably do like a new one every year if I could.
Yeah.
But time will tell, and all depends on how busy I am too. So
And a lot of horror conventions seem to be happening in October and
Yeah.
stuff. I know Monster Mania happens in October, and
yeah, and NJ HorrorCon is usually right
mhm.
around the same time, and then whatever other ones that randomly pop up, and you're like, oh, I got to go to this one now, because I never heard of it. But yeah, like Monster Mania, NJ HorrorCon, they're like the two big ones that always are like in competition with each other in that time period of that month. So out of those two, like between Monster Mania and NJ HorrorCon, I think Monster Mania personally has better guests, and
Okay.
I think it's a little better organized, not by much, because NJ HorrorCon, they have flaws. Every con has flaws. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no perfect con out there.
No.
But I feel like NJ HorrorCon is sometimes a little disorganized with how like their guests are, like the pricing and all that, because they'll say like one day, oh, it's like $40 for an autograph, but then when you get there, they're like, oh, well, it's actually like, $60 for just an
Wow.
autograph. And it's like, how are you guys like $20 off from what you were told from the representative? But besides that, I mean, for the most part, they do a very good job. Monster Mania, like I said, they always blow it out of the park with their guests. And I've missed meeting Robert England like four times because the lines are just too damn long, and I can't sit in a line for 4+ hours just to meet one person when there's
No.
other people I want to meet the same day, you
Yeah.
know.
I heard the convention he's doing like this year. I heard since he's getting older, it's going to be like the last ones he ever does.
Yeah, and I would like for him to sign my Nightmare on Elm Street collection and Freddy versus Jason. Like that's all I want. I don't want to get the claw sign that I have, the glove. I don't
Yeah.
want to get that signed because I just want the movie signed. When I get stuff signed, it's always movies usually,
Okay.
because I feel it's like I can show this off to people in a lot easier format than like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, look at this, big machete I got signed by, whoever. And it's
Yeah.
like, because if we're going to watch the movie, you have something to look at least while you're watching the movie. Be like, oh, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? And then, yeah, it's just a storyteller basically for me.
Yeah.
So,
Nice. So, talking about your experience with volunteering at these different horror conventions, I actually saw you with Tommy Lee Wallace at Creature Feature Weekend. How was that like?
okay. So Tommy Lee Wallace is really old school, really funny. And I learned actually more about Halloween than I already knew. So I got into Halloween very late because Friday the 13th was like, that was like my niche. I love
Okay.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I've seen all these movies a bunch of times. I was like, let me venture out a little bit and check out Halloween. I watched the first Halloween. I was like, yeah, this is totally a 70s/80s slasher movie. But I didn't notice for like the longest time that there was no blood whatsoever in that movie, and there
Mhm.
was no gore, there was nothing. And I watched it again after hearing that stuff, and I'm like, my God, there isn't none. I'm like, how did they pull that off? And you don't even notice it,
No, you don't
you
think about
know? You don't, well, so John Carpenter's thing is like music makes people, like sounds make people scared more than like visual things per
Yes.
se.
Yes.
That's his specialty, obviously, as you can
Yes.
tell. But again, on Tommy Lee Wallace, so I didn't know that he did all the scenes when Myers was actually like breaking through like doors or windows,
Yes.
anything like that.
Yes.
I had no idea he was even part of, being in the Myers mask. I thought he was
Okay.
just a producer and that was it,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And he said it was a joy to work with John Carpenter, and they were just trying to make a horror movie, and they didn't expect it to blow up like it did.
No,
And
there's no way you could imagine.
no, especially back then, like, and
No.
especially with new actors too. Like,
Yeah.
you don't think a movie like that's going to succeed because, people don't, I don't want to say people don't like horror movies back then, but they did. But it was a very small group of people really liked those movies. And now look at it, like, there's hundreds of thousands of different movies out there, and there's a million billion plus fans of just straight horror movies anymore, you
Yeah,
know?
like you can go to like normal stores like Kohl's or something and they have a horror shirt.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
that didn't used to be a thing.
No, that was like unheard of. Like
Yeah.
especially when I was growing up, you couldn't find horror stuff at like Kohl's or Marshalls or things like that. Now it's freaking everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Well, you couldn't even find like even a decent looking Jason mask at all, even like a Halloween shop.
Yeah.
Now you can go into like, a Rite Aid or CVS and it's like, wow, this is like a really good, legit looking Jason mask.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah, and I mean also too, the Spirit Halloween man, their masks are getting better and better as time goes on, and I'm getting more impressed with the stuff that they're releasing. Like they're doing all the Rob Zombie Halloween masks, which I'm like, oh, thankfully that's coming out because I didn't think that was ever going to come out.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was like, it's been so long, there's no way. I got it. I pre-ordered it and had it shipped to me. But
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
I got the first one. I didn't get the Halloween 2 one where it's like ripped apart.
See, if I were to do another Myers cosplay, I would want to do Halloween 2 because I
Yeah.
love the rip in the mask. I think it's just it's more terrifying because it's like, oh, you see there's a human in there, but is he really
Yeah.
human? Or is he something else? Like, holy crap, like this is kind of terrifying to look at because you don't know what to expect.
Mhm. Always makes me think of the one scene in it where it's like the little kid looks at him like the trick-or-treater is like, "Are you a giant?"
Yeah, are you a giant?
It's hilarious.
And he just like stares down at him
He
and
just
doesn't
stares
say a
down.
word.
Oh man,
Yep.
that's great.
Going back to, going to conventions and stuff, do you have like a bucket list of like people you want to meet or like would love to meet or love not even been to a convention yet, but you're like, man, I would love a convention to get this person, or do you have
Yeah.
like a list?
Yeah, so for my list for that, rest in peace to Steve Dash. I would have loved to have met him. I know he would have loved my cosplay. I know that for a fact he would have loved it. So Steve Dash, but unfortunately that'll never happen. Richard Broker, I would have loved to have met him, but unfortunately I'll never get to meet him. Um, I would really like to meet Nick Castle. I've yet to meet him
I
still,
met him. He
because
was very nice.
and that's all I keep hearing. He's a super nice guy. He's very laid back, chill, relaxed, the whole nine yards. Um, I would really like to meet trying to think. So I have I would probably want to meet well, I met Tyler Main, but I want to meet him again because I really didn't have much time to really talk to him. I kind of was just like, oh, sign this and goodbye, and I kind of left. But
Okay.
I would like to re-meet Tyler Main again because he's one of my favorite Myers. I mean, he is the most like brutal Myers I think there's ever been,
Oh yeah,
honestly.
it's insane.
Like in Halloween 2, again, like
Yeah.
the hospital scene where he's just stabbing that nurse in the head. I'm like,
Oh my God.
bro, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is just ruthless, you
Yeah.
know? But another person I would like to meet would be Doug Bradley. I would love to meet him. Clive Barker is going to be at Monster Mania later this year, so I'm
Oh,
hoping to meet him if his line's not too nuts.
yeah.
Robert Englund, I would love to meet him. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Oh, I would like to meet oh my gosh, what's his name? Brett Wagner from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what is it, like 2006 or whatever?
Yeah. There's been so many.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to meet more Bubbas because they're really cool. They're really cool, really nice guys. So that I would think is pretty much the list. I mean, I pretty much have met everybody that I wanted to meet from Friday the 13th that I could. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I haven't met Dick Weinberg from Part 5. I haven't met him.
Okay.
Um I haven't met him. I would love to meet Pam from Part 5 and also who was Tommy in Part 5. I forget his name's like John Shepard, I think is his name. Yeah. I think it's John Shepard's his name. I'd like to meet him too as well. Yeah, I mean there is a list. I just don't I change it all the time continuously, but
What I think is great is pretty much all the actors I've met that played like the most brutal, ruthless characters you've ever seen in horror cinema are like the nicest people. Like I met Bill Mosley, and I met
Yeah.
Dr. Satan, and I met all these people, and they're all super nice, down to earth people. I met Richard Brake, who always portrays like the most sadistic characters imaginable. He's super nice, just
Oh
making
yeah.
with you, just being nice. We talked for like 10 minutes when I met him.
Yeah.
It's like he's super nice people.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I met Dr. Satan too, and I told him straight up, I was like, dude, when I first watched this movie, you terrified the shit out of me, dude. Like,
Yeah,
I was so freaking afraid of this movie
yeah.
because I was, how old was I? I was probably like 15, 16 or something
Okay,
like that.
okay.
And watching that scene where he's like doing the surgery on the dude's head, man,
Yeah,
oh my
Christopher
God,
Lee,
that
yeah.
freaked me out so much because it looked so realistic for the
Yeah, it
time that
did.
it came out.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was super cool. Bill Johnson, who was Bubba in part two of
yeah,
Texas Chainsaw, super nice guy. Bill Moseley, I met him too. He was freaking awesome. I loved every second with it.
yeah.
Um, and Tommy Lee Wallace, I mean, he was just so cool, so laid back. And I couldn't believe like the stuff that some of his fans were giving him. Like people were giving him like German copies of like Halloween 3. He's like, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but here, this is for you. And I'm like, you're just gonna give a movie to the guy? Like, okay.
I
But
gave him a pin. I gave him a pin of my logo.
oh, okay, okay. That's oh yeah, you did. That's right. I
Yeah,
do remember that. You
yeah.
did, yes.
I was
Um,
like, I have a how I said I have a bunch of Halloween 3 merch. Like I've loved it for years. Here, have a
yeah, right.
pin
And
exchange.
he's still shocked to this day that Halloween 3's got the following that it does. He's
I was just
very
gonna say,
shocked at
so,
that.
so let me tell you, like, because like my horror convention days were, like I said, were like early 2000 stuff from like maybe like 2001, 2004. I would go to a ton of them, and if you would even mention Halloween 3 in that early days, of the early 2000s, people would look at you like you're nuts. Like there was like a 10% of the people who go to conventions that liked Halloween 3.
Oh yeah, and
Now
like I said,
it's
now the
people
following's
don't like.
humongous, dude.
Oh yeah,
It's just crazy that the whole turnaround of what that movie's become.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it is too is I think when people hear the name Halloween, they think Michael Myers immediately. That's
yeah.
the first thing they think of. But what Tommy Lee Wallace, from what I heard him talking about to people, was he was trying to do a different story because he didn't want Halloween to be specifically aimed towards just Michael Myers. So he wanted to do something different that was, you know, just something out of the ordinary that wasn't, it had nothing to do with the franchise whatsoever. But unfortunately, he couldn't really change the name because the name was already decided. And he was like,
Yeah.
oh crap, well, this is not part of the series, but it has to go with it, unfortunately. But I like like I said, I like the fact that it is a different story compared to anything else in the Halloween franchise. But I would have loved to see Myers make a cameo. That would have been nice
Well,
to see
technically,
it.
it's on the TV
Technically does.
second.
Well, yes, that is
Technically does.
true. That is true. But I
Uh,
mean, like him just like coming out of like somewhere and like I don't want to say killing a kid necessarily, but like killing like one of the bad guys of the corporation or something.
oh, okay, okay.
You
Like
know,
one
just
robot henchman or something.
yeah, yeah, just something like that. You know, I'm not asking for much. That's all I would have loved to have seen. But
What drives me nuts though is when people say they don't like it or they haven't watched it is because of Michael Myers isn't in it. But it's like, well, Michael Myers doesn't make a good Halloween movie. There's been terrible Halloween movies with
Yeah,
Michael Myers in it.
yeah.
So
Let's let not get
doesn't
stuck
mean
on
that
Halloween
just because
Ends.
he's in it, it's good.
yeah,
Halloween
yeah,
Ends is pretty awful.
yeah. I mean, I think just my opinion. I think H2O was probably my least favorite out of the whole entire franchise. Well,
Hmm.
not the whole entire franchise, I
I
should
was gonna
say.
say, man.
I love
H
H2O.
like H2O is okay, but I the mask I'm just not intrigued by it. It's too
See,
different.
see, that doesn't bother me because I think 5 is the worst mask.
Oh, the
Oh,
five.
I
Awful.
100% agree with you. Five
Five
is the
awful.
most ridiculous
Yeah,
looking
that
mask of
big
all time.
neck coming out and the
Yeah.
hair, like that slick back hair. It's just 5 is the worst.
Yeah, the mask made no sense of
Yeah,
how that was like how that could even have been Michael Myers, you know?
right. So I can let the H2O mask slide because I'm like, well, at least it's not the 5 mask. And
Is H2O the one where like for one of the frames they had to do a CGI mask to
CGI,
it up
yeah.
for one of
Yep.
the frames?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that was that one, unfortunately. But I mean, in Hollywood, you got
That's a
to do
pretty
what you got to
solid movie,
do.
though. I
What's
thought it was
that?
pretty solid. H2O, I thought it was pretty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, it's not bad. It's just I don't know, it just doesn't do the same thing as like
I
1, 2, and
but see,
Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills.
I think with H2O, it got back to that like Michael's on a mission just to get to Lori, and he doesn't care about killing anyone else per se.
yeah,
Whereas like the newer ones, what Rob Zombie did, the new ones, like okay, he's just gonna murder everyone that's in his way and everything. And it's like I
Yeah.
like that more like in the back stalking presence of Myers as an upfront
yeah.
killing machine type thing. Um,
I don't know. I don't know.
uh,
For me, it's like I just I like brutality, especially when it's just like a psychopathic knife wielding killer. Like
Yeah.
if he just goes berserk, that's more entertaining to me personally. But that's just me.
Okay.
See, I like that creepiness of like, okay, he's just gonna stare at you from like a distance through like a tree, through like when he's like that scene where he's just looking at LL Cool J through the thing, and it doesn't even
Yeah.
care about killing him. He just wants to, have that
Yeah, for
creepy
sure.
figure
For
there.
sure. Yeah. I mean I get both sides. I understand.
Yeah.
Is there any haunt that you know of out of just throughout that you would love to get to?
Uh what's the name of the one where they like actually like torture people and stuff that's in like Tennessee, I think it is, or whatever. That one, I just want to go just to see the place. I don't want to actually partake in anything. I just want to see the damn place. That's all I care about.
Oh my God.
That'd be one. I now this is gonna sound maybe a little odd, but like the Disney horror theme that they have going on during October, they
Oh,
actually have a
not so
pretty
scary party.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they
I
have like
heard
a
that's actually pretty fun. Not scary
yeah,
at all, but just fun.
yeah, it's just a good fun time. And sometimes like when you go to a haunt, you don't want to be like always scared every time. You just want to have a good entertaining fun time sometimes, you
True.
know. And that would be probably one for me as well. Um but there's one out in California. And I saw it years and years and years ago, but I can't even remember the name of it. It's been so
What,
many
17th
years.
door?
Maybe that's what it
17th door is the
was.
one that has 17 rooms and it starts at kind of intense and then at the very end it's like the most intense.
I think that might be it because it might have been a different name at some point, but
Oh,
that does sound familiar how you're describing it. So I think that might be the one I'm thinking of.
there's Reign of
Yes.
Terror too, but they're more traditional haunt.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I gotcha. So yeah, that I mean that's pretty much where I would want to go. And any future things for like just me in general is just do more cosplaying, go to more horror conventions and um do more of my music stuff that I want to do. Do more of my video game streaming too. I mostly play Dead by Daylight because
Okay. Makes sense.
I'm a horror fanatic. So,
Yes. Do you play
but yeah,
like
that
DLCs with like extra characters and stuff?
oh yeah, I don't well I don't have all the characters. I'm working on getting all the characters still because I mean obviously money is a problem for everybody to some
Yeah.
degree. So like I gotta really budget my money sometimes and it's like
Yeah.
oh well I have to put this off or
Yeah.
whatever. But I mostly play Survivor usually. But if I'm in like a mood where it's like okay I obviously can't win against any killer, then I turn into a killer and I mostly play Michael Myers, usually Bubba Sawyer, or I will play as the Wraith who goes invisible. Um, and that's pretty much the three characters. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Pinhead or not Pinhead. Pyramid Head is the other one I would
Pyramid Head.
play
Oh,
as.
nice.
Yeah,
That's cool. So where can people follow you on social media and follow your streams and everything?
pretty much. It's Immolated Souls everywhere, pretty much on all social media. On Twitch, there is an underscore between the words. That's pretty much the only alteration between all the social media I have. So like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's all the same pretty much for the most part. Actually, I'm sorry. On Facebook, it's Immolated Souls Gaming. That's what it is because there
Okay.
is an actual band called Immolated Souls, and I had to change it. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So so yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's where you can follow me. That's where you can keep up with my updates of just everything in life. And oh yeah, I'm sorry. On Twitter, it actually has an underscore too. I
Oh,
just realized that. So there's an
okay.
underscore on that. So
I'll have it
that's
all linked below.
yeah, yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you for talking to us. And I have been John from the Haunt Informer.
Now I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
And thank you all for watching. This was episode 47. And be sure to stay spooky.